I leave Ashford Heights through a drainage ditch behind the old grocery plaza, with one hand on the chain-link fence and the other wrapped around the strap of my backpack. The neighborhood behind me has already stopped acting normal, not fully gone yet, not the kind of gone people imagine when they talk about the end of the world, but broken in enough places that every choice now feels smaller and meaner than it did yesterday. A police cruiser sits sideways across the entrance to the plaza with both front doors open. Nobody is inside. The light bar still flashes without sound, red and blue sliding over the cracked pavement, over the abandoned carts, over a toddler's shoe lying beside the curb. The grocery store windows are cracked, but not shattered. Someone tried to get in through the automatic doors and failed, then tried harder, then gave up or got dragged away. I don't stop to figure out which one. I already made that mistake twice this morning. Looking too long turns a bad thing into a decision. My name is Owen Mercer. I worked maintenance at a county water treatment plant until 3 days ago, when the plant manager told us to stay home unless called in. He said it was temporary. He said the county needed to reduce movement because of regional illness response. He said the phrase with his work voice, the one he used when pipes burst under 2 feet of mud, and he did not want the operators to panic. Yesterday, the phones quit taking calls. This morning, a neighbor named Phil tried to stop a sick woman from walking into traffic. She turned on him in the middle of the street, and 3 people ran out to help. By the time I got my truck started, none of them were helping anymore. I took my backpack, 2 bottles of water, a flashlight, a folding knife, a change of socks, and the little first aid kit from under the bathroom sink. I had more at home: food, tools, a battery radio, a decent pair of work boots. But the front of my apartment building filled with people pounding on doors before I could pack properly. Some were begging to be let in. Some were not begging. Some were making noises that did not belong to any argument I had heard before. So I left through the back. Now I'm moving along the ditch, staying low, trying not to step on broken glass or dry branches. Every few seconds I hear another sound from the neighborhood. A dog barking behind a fence, someone shouting a name, a car alarm starting, stopping, then starting again farther away. From the highway beyond the slope, traffic makes no steady sound anymore. It comes in bursts, engines revving, tires scraping, a crash. Silence. More engines. I want to get to the industrial road behind the county garage. There is a culvert there, then a service lane, then maybe the old bypass. If I can reach open ground, I can put distance between myself and the apartment blocks. That is the whole plan. It is not a good plan. It is just the only one I have left. The ditch bends under a low concrete bridge behind the tire shop. The air under it smells wet and sour. Someone has already been here. A plastic suitcase sits open in the mud with clothes pulled halfway out. A packet of crackers has been ripped apart and left empty. I crouch beside it, listen, then move. At the far end of the bridge, 2 infected stand in the shade near the drainage outlet. I stop with 1 foot in shallow water. One wears pajama pants and a winter coat even though the day is warm. The other wears a courier uniform, blue shirt torn at one sleeve, phone still clipped to his belt. Both face the concrete wall. Neither one is trying to climb it. Their hands slide over the stained surface, slow and clumsy, leaving dark smears. They hear the water shift under my boot. The courier turns first. I don't wait. I back up, slow for the first 3 steps, then faster when his feet splash toward me. The other follows a second later. Their movement is uneven, but not lazy. Not movie slow. They do not think. They do not hesitate. They just close distance with every ugly step. I climb the ditch wall where tree roots break through the soil. My right boot slips once. Mud tears loose under my hand. The courier reaches the bottom below me and slams into the slope, fingers digging into the wet dirt. I kick backward without looking. My heel catches his wrist. He falls, gets up, falls again because the slope is too steep for him to understand. I pull myself over the top and roll behind a hedge at the edge of the tire shop lot. For a few seconds, I stay flat, not because I want to hide forever, but because moving too soon is how people get seen. The infected in the ditch scrape and bump below me. They know I am close. They do not know how to reach me yet. Across the lot, a red sign stands over a low brick building. Ashford Station 4. Fire Department. At first, I don't believe what I'm seeing. I know the building. Everybody around here knows it. Single-story fire station, 2 wide apparatus bay doors, American flag out front, side parking lot, low fence around the generator pad, brick walls faded by weather. I drove past it hundreds of times and never thought about it for more than a second. Now it looks different, because everything useful has become valuable. The bay doors are closed. The front glass door is intact. No smoke. No obvious damage. No crowd outside. One ambulance is gone from the side pad, but I can see the front bumper of a fire engine through the bay window. Big red cab. White stripe. Chrome dulled by dust. Still there. I stay behind the hedge and watch the station for a full minute. The 2 infected are still in the ditch behind me, but they are stuck below the slope. The road in front of the station is empty except for a delivery van stopped against the curb with one wheel up on the sidewalk. Farther down, near the intersection, a woman in a yellow raincoat walks in circles beside a mailbox. She does not act right. She keeps touching the mailbox door, opening it, closing it, opening it again. No firefighters come out. No one runs. No one calls from inside. A fire station should have people. That thought is what makes me wait. Empty buildings can be gifts, sure. They can also be traps someone else already lost. I cross the lot low and fast, keeping cars between me and the road. The station's side door has a keypad and a metal handle. Locked. The front entrance is worse. Glass, lobby, too visible. I move along the wall toward the apparatus bay and look through the narrow window beside the first door. Then inside, the engine sits in the bay with its driver door open. Gear racks line the wall. Coats and pants hang from hooks. Boots sit below them in neat pairs. Helmets on shelves. Air cylinders in metal brackets. A yellow mop bucket near the drain. Everything looks paused. Then I see the shape on the floor behind the engine. A firefighter lies on his side near the back bumper, one arm stretched under the truck. His uniform shirt is dark with old stains. He is not moving. A radio sits on the floor near his hand. I shift my angle, trying to see more of the bay. Something moves behind the engine. I freeze. A second firefighter steps into view from the far side. Helmet gone, face gray, turnout pants loose at his waist. He drags one boot, pauses, turns toward the front window, then walks straight into the side of the engine. His forehead bumps the red metal. He backs up half a step and bumps it again. Infected. Inside. I whisper one word I won't repeat and step away from the glass. The smart move is to leave. That is the clear answer. There is an infected firefighter inside. Maybe more. The doors are locked. I have no key. I have no gun. I have 2 bottles of water and a folding knife that would be stupid to use unless I had no other option. The fire station looks useful because it is useful, and that means other people will think the same thing. I should leave. I make it 15 feet. Then a scream comes from the intersection. The woman in the yellow raincoat is no longer alone. A man in a suit is on the pavement beside the delivery van, trying to push himself backward with his elbows. Two infected move toward him from the far side of the road. He kicks one in the knee and it folds down, but the other keeps coming. The man sees the fire station. He sees me. His face changes when he realizes I am alive. "Help!" he shouts. The word hits the empty street hard enough to make the infected in the ditch start scraping again. I look at the man. I look at the fire station. I look at the side door keypad. Then I see the firefighter on the floor through the window again, his arm under the engine. Not random, reaching. Maybe he was reaching for something before he died. A key? A release? A tool? The man screams again. The infected in the raincoat turns away from the mailbox and starts toward him. I move to the bay door. Not the glass door, the big overhead door. I grab the bottom seal and pull. It does not move. I check the side track. There is an emergency release cord inside. Not outside? Of course there is. I step to the narrow bay window and strike it with a loose brick from the landscaping bed. The first hit cracks it. The second hit punches a hole. The sound carries down the street. The infected firefighter inside turns away from the engine. He sees me through the broken window and comes straight at it. I use the brick to clear the glass around the frame, fast but careful enough not to cut my arm open. The opening is narrow. I shove my backpack through first, then climb in feet first, shoulders scraping the frame. My jacket catches on a shard. I pull hard, drop into the bay, and land badly on one knee. The infected firefighter is 10 feet away. He wears turnout pants and suspenders over a station shirt. His hands lift as he comes in. I grab the mop handle from the bucket and jam it across his chest. He pushes into it without reacting to the pain or pressure. The mop handle bends. I shove him sideways into the engine's front bumper. He goes down on one knee, gets back up, and almost catches my sleeve. I back around the engine, keeping it between us. The firefighter on the floor does not move. The radio beside his hand hisses with dead static. Under the back bumper, I see what he reached for. A key ring. I drop flat, stretch my arm under the engine, and hook the keys with 2 fingers. The infected firefighter comes around the rear wheel. I roll away, kick his boot, and he stumbles into the hose rack. Coiled hose drops off the shelf with a heavy slap. He tangles one foot in it and goes down hard. I run to the wall beside the bay door, find the control panel, and hit the open button. Nothing. I hit it again. The motor hums, strains, stops, power is weak or the door is locked out. The infected firefighter is already pushing himself up. Outside, the man in the suit is no longer screaming words, just sound. I scan the panel. Manual chain, red release cord. I yank it. The opener disengages. I grab the door handle and pull with everything I have. This time, the overhead door rises 6 inches, then a foot, then 2. Daylight spills in under it. The man in the suit scrambles toward the opening. His jacket is torn. Blood streaks one side of his face. Behind him, the raincoat woman and the other infected close in, drawn by the noise. "Get under!" I shout. He crawls under the door. I pull higher. He rolls inside, gasping words I don't process. I drop the door before the raincoat woman reaches it. Her fingers slap under the bottom edge. I stomp them once. Not hard enough to think about, just enough to make her pull back. Then I shove the door down until the rubber seal meets concrete. The bay goes dim again. The infected firefighter is free of the hose. The man in the suit points at him and backs into the wall. I grab a flathead axe from the rack, not to swing at his head. I don't want that. I do not want any of this. I hook the axe handle across his turnout suspenders and shove him backward toward a storage cage. The man in the suit sees what I'm doing and helps for half a second, pushing a rolling tool cart into the infected firefighter's legs. The firefighter trips. I slam the storage cage door open, drive him inside with the axe handle, and shut it before he can recover. The cage lock hangs from the latch. I snap it closed. The infected firefighter throws himself against the mesh. The whole cage rattles. The man in the suit slides down the wall beside the gear rack and puts both hands over his face. I look at him, then at the dead firefighter on the floor, then at the bay window I broke. The station is not safe. It is just better than the street. The man in the suit says his name is Victor Bell. He tells me this 3 times while I drag a metal cabinet in front of the broken bay window. He works for a real estate office near the courthouse. He was driving home when traffic stopped. He left his car after someone started dragging people out of vehicles near the underpass. He says he needs a phone. He says his wife is at a school. He says he needs to get to her. I let him talk while I work because talking keeps him from running outside. The infected firefighter locked in the storage cage keeps hitting the mesh, not constantly, but whenever we make enough noise. The sound travels through the bay in flat metallic bursts. The dead firefighter behind the engine stays dead. I do not touch him yet. I know I will have to. Not now. The first thing I do is secure what I damaged. The broken bay window is too small for a person to climb through quickly, but it is big enough for hands, noise, and bad luck. I find plywood sheets stacked behind the maintenance closet and screw one over the inside frame with a cordless drill from the workbench. The drill battery has 1 bar. I use short screws, 6 of them, enough to hold. Then I push the metal cabinet against it again. The second thing I do is check doors. The station has the Apparatus bay, a watch room with desks and radio equipment, a small kitchen, bunks, bathrooms, a locker room, a medical supply closet, a mechanical room, and a rear exit into a fenced service area. The rear door is locked, but has a crash bar from inside. The front lobby door is locked. The side personnel door is locked. Every lock now matters. Every window matters more. Victor follows me with a pry bar in his hand, holding it too tight, swinging the tip toward every shadow. "Do you work here?" he asks. "No." "Then how do you know what to check?" "I don't. I'm checking everything." He does not like that answer. I don't like it either. The watch room still has power from emergency backup, but it flickers every few minutes. 2 desk lamps glow. A wall clock runs. A county map hangs beside a whiteboard with unit assignments written in dry marker. Engine 4, Medic 4, Squad 4, Battalion 2. Someone wrote fuel delivery delayed in block letters near the bottom. Under it, someone else wrote, "Do not run siren test." That line gets my attention. The radio console hisses. One channel spits broken voices under static, not clean enough to understand at first. I sit in the chair and adjust the volume. "Do not respond. Repeat. Do not respond to residential medical calls without law enforcement escort." Victor grabs the edge of the desk. "Can you talk to them?" "I can try." I press the transmit button on the desk microphone. "This is Ashford Station 4. Is anyone receiving?" Static. I wait, counting with my eyes on the door. "This is Ashford Station 4. 2 civilians inside. 1 infected contained in Apparatus bay. Request guidance." The radio clicks. A woman's voice comes through, thin and distant. "Station 4. Identify unit." "I'm not fire department. My name is Owen Mercer. I found the station empty. One firefighter deceased. One infected, locked in a cage. Victor starts saying, "Ask about evacuations," while I raise one hand to stop him. The woman on the radio answers after a delay. Station 4. County dispatch is operating limited emergency traffic only. Do not activate sirens. Do not open station to public. Secure all exterior doors. Avoid generator noise unless necessary. If Engine 4 is operational, conserve fuel. Battalion 2 unavailable. I look at the whiteboard again. Do not open station to public. I press the button. Is there a safe route out? A long pause follows. I think she is gone. Then she says, "No confirmed safe route in Ashford. Highway 16 blocked at East Ramp. Hospital not secure. Civic Center shelter breached at noon. Fire stations are no longer public shelters. Repeat, fire stations are no longer public shelters." Victor stares at me. The radio goes back to static. I sit there another second, holding the microphone. The phrase stays in the room after the voice disappears. Fire stations are no longer public shelters. The problem is that nobody outside knows that. We inventory the station because standing still makes the building feel worse. The kitchen has canned food in 2 cabinets. Not enough for a crowd, but enough for a few people for several days, if nobody gets greedy. Beans, soup, instant oatmeal, peanut butter, crackers, coffee. The fridge is warm. The freezer has melted into a wet mess of ruined meat and leaking plastic bags. I shut it and tape the door with painter's tape from a drawer so nobody opens it again by habit. The medical closet has trauma bags, bandages, gloves, masks, burn dressings, antiseptic wipes, splints, saline, over-the-counter meds, and oxygen bottles in a rack. Some bags are missing. Some are open on the counter, used in a hurry. I take the gloves and masks first, not because I think cloth and plastic will solve a virus, but because blood and saliva are now danger, and bare hands are stupid. The gear racks are full enough to matter. Turnout coats, pants, boots, helmets, flash hoods, heavy gloves, self-contained breathing apparatus packs. I know enough to know I do not know enough. The air packs are not magic. Heavy gear slows a person down. Heat becomes its own problem. But the coats and gloves can protect arms from teeth and broken glass. That matters. The tool racks matter more. Axes, Halligan bars, bolt cutters, pike poles, sledgehammers, rope, webbing, flashlights, spare batteries, hydraulic tools on the rescue truck side, though I do not know how to use most of them. A thermal camera sits in a charger. I take it, turn it on, and see the world in ghostly heat shapes. Useful in smoke. Maybe useful in dark hallways? Maybe not. The apparatus bay has the engine, a smaller rescue pickup, and an empty ambulance space. Engine 4 has half a tank of diesel, according to the gauge. The rescue pickup has less than a quarter. Both keys are on the ring I found under the engine. I do not start either one. Noise is not free anymore. The generator behind the fenced pad is running low and rough. That explains the flicker. It has maybe a few hours left unless we refuel it. Diesel cans sit in the mechanical room, 3 full, 1 half. Not much. Victor grows more focused once he has tasks. I send him to fill every clean container in the kitchen and bathrooms while the water still runs. He finds pitchers, pots, sports bottles, a mop bucket we clean twice, and plastic storage bins. He asks if the water is safe. I tell him I don't know, but empty containers are worse. I hate how many answers now begin with, "I don't know." At 4:18 p.m., according to the wall clock, The first people come to the front door. A man and a teenage girl stand outside the lobby glass. The man has a towel wrapped around his forearm. The girl carries a school backpack. Both look over their shoulders between knocks. The man knocks politely at first, then harder. "Fire department," he shouts. "Please, we need help." Victor stops filling pots in the kitchen. He looks at me across the hallway. I don't move toward the door right away. I go to the watchroom window and look out from the side, not directly in front of the glass. The man is maybe 40. The girl is maybe 16. No infected visible on the street except the raincoat woman farther down, still near the delivery van. The two from the ditch are not visible from this side. The man's towel is stained but not soaked. His face is clear. The girl looks scared but steady. Victor whispers, "We can't leave a kid outside." I whisper back, "We also can't open the front door without knowing what happened." The man sees movement inside and starts banging with both fists. "Please, my daughter needs help." The girl says something to him. He stops banging for half a second, then starts again. I grab a radio from the charging bank and clip it to my belt. I take the Halligan bar instead of the axe. I put on turnout gloves. Victor follows with the pry bar. At the lobby door, I stand behind the frame, not in the glass. "Step back from the door." The man leans closer. "Open up." "Step back first." "My daughter." "Step back." The girl pulls him away. Good. She listens. I unlock the door but keep the chain latch engaged. It opens 3 inches. "What happened?" I ask. The man shoves his towel-wrapped arm toward the gap. "Car wreck. Glass cut me. We saw the station. We need bandages." "Was anyone sick near you? Did anyone bite you?" "No." The answer comes too fast. The girl says, "A woman tried to get into our car. She broke the window. Dad pulled me out through the other side. He cut his arm on the door frame." The father looks angry that she answered. I trust her more. I look at the towel. "Unwrap it." "What?" "Unwrap it and show me." He hesitates. Not long, but long enough. Victor shifts behind me. The girl says, "Dad." The man unwraps the towel. The cut runs along his forearm, long and shallow, ugly but not from teeth. No bite marks, no torn chunk, no half-circle pattern. I unlock the chain and open the door. Inside. Fast. They enter, and I shut the door before the raincoat woman can change direction. The man says his name is Harris. His daughter is Lena. He thanks me once, then immediately asks where the firefighters are. Nobody answers. Lena looks into the bay and sees the infected firefighter behind the storage cage. Her face goes still, but she does not scream. I respect that more than I should. We clean Harris's arm in the kitchen. He complains about the sting, the delay, the fact that nobody official is here, the closed roads, the useless police. Lena sits beside him and watches the hallway. She keeps one hand on her backpack strap. She is learning faster than he is. Victor asks if Harris has a car. Harris says it crashed near the intersection. Keys still in it. Some gas in the tank. Useful information. Dangerous to retrieve. I tell everyone the rules before the conversation turns into panic. Doors stay locked. Nobody opens anything without telling me. No sirens. No generator unless necessary. No shouting near windows. Anyone with a bite says so immediately. Harris asks, "Who put you in charge?" I look at the bandage in my hands, then at the locked storage cage rattling behind us. "Nobody. You can leave if you want." He does not leave. By 5 p.m., the station has 4 living people, 1 contained infected, 1 dead firefighter, and too many reasons for trouble. We move the dead firefighter into the decontamination shower area because leaving him behind the engine is wrong and dangerous. I do it with Victor, not Harris. Harris's arm gives him an excuse and he takes it. We use gloves, masks, and a sheet from the bunk room. The firefighter's name tag says Alvarez. His radio stays on the floor where he dropped it until I pick it up and set it on the watch desk. I do not make a speech. There is no time, and I did not know him. But I close the shower door after we move him, and I write his name on a piece of masking tape and stick it to the outside. That is not enough. It is what I can do. The infected firefighter in the cage wears a tag too. Pritchard. He throws himself at the mesh when Victor drags the sheet past him. His jaw works without words. His fingers hook through the diamond gaps. The padlock holds. The cage frame is bolted to concrete. Good for now. Not forever. I check the radio again. Dispatch is worse. More static. More partial messages. Units do not approach hospital district. Multiple civilian vehicles blocking Maple and 3rd. Water pressure dropping south grid. Any station with fuel report status. I consider answering. I don't. Every transmission tells people we are here if anyone is scanning. At the same time, silence means isolation. Both choices are bad. I lower the volume but keep listening. Lena helps without being asked. She labels water containers with a marker. She separates food by type. She finds a stack of laminated pre-plan maps showing commercial buildings in the response area and spreads them on the kitchen table. She asks what a hydrant map is. I explain what little I know. She nods and keeps working. Harris keeps looking at the engine. "We should use that," he says. "Big truck, high cab. We drive out." "To where?" I ask. "Out of town. Roads are blocked." "Then through." I look at the engine's front bumper, the hose bed, the side compartments full of tools. It feels powerful sitting there. That is the trick. It feels powerful because it was made for a world where roads could be controlled, fuel could be replaced, and help followed procedure. Now it is big, loud, heavy, and obvious. "We start that engine," I say. "Everyone within a few blocks hears it. If the siren works and someone hits it by accident, worse. If we get stuck between cars, worse again." Harris opens his mouth, closes it, then looks at Victor for support. Victor does not give it. Lena asks, "Can we move it without the siren?" "Yes." "Can we use it to block the front?" That is the first useful idea anyone says after entering the station. We spend the next hour turning the fire station from a public building into a temporary holdout. The front lobby is the weakest point. Glass door, low windows, direct view from the street. We cover the glass with turnout coats first, then plywood from inside. We do not cover everything. We leave 2 narrow observation gaps at shoulder height so we can see without being seen clearly. The lobby furniture becomes a barricade behind the door. Bench, cabinet, file drawers filled with old forms. Not strong enough to stop determined people forever, but enough to slow one bad rush. The side door gets a hose cabinet in front of it and a wedge under the base. The rear door gets cleared, because it may be our exit later. I do not barricade exits I might need. That feels obvious until Harris tries to stack boxes there and I have to stop him. The apparatus bay doors are heavy, but the broken window is a problem. The plywood holds. I add a second sheet with screws and a strip of metal shelving across the inside. We park a rolling equipment cart in front of it and lock the wheels. The generator is the next problem. It keeps the radio room alive, the lights dim, and the bay door motors possible. but it also makes a low, steady sound outside. I go to the rear fenced pad with Victor and a flashlight, carrying one diesel can between us. The air outside has changed. More smoke now. Not thick, but present. Somewhere west, something is burning that nobody is coming to put out. The generator sits behind a chain-link enclosure with a slatted privacy screen. It coughs every few seconds. The fuel gauge is near empty. I refill it from the can while Victor watches the alley. The alley behind the station runs between the firehouse and a row of small offices. Dumpsters, utility poles, a white pickup with a cracked windshield. No movement at first. Then a man steps out from behind the pickup. He is alive. I know before he speaks because he raises both hands. "Don't shoot," he says. Victor lifts the pry bar anyway. We don't have a gun. I hate that he says it. The man looks exhausted, maybe early 30s, wearing a paramedic uniform jacket over civilian jeans. His name patch says Delaney. His left cheek is bruised. He carries no bag, no weapon, no helmet. "This is Station 4?" he asks. "Yes," I say. "Who's inside?" "Civilians." "Where's the crew?" I do not answer fast enough. He looks at the generator, then at the rear door, then back at me. He already understands part of it. Maybe all of it. "I was with Medic 4, he says. "We got separated at Briar Lane. I came back on foot." I study him in the dim alley. No obvious bite. No blood around his mouth. His sleeves are intact. But obvious does not mean safe. "Show your arms," I say. He does it without arguing. That helps. He turns slowly, lifts his pant legs, shows the backs of his legs. No bites, bruises, scrapes, and nothing that looks like teeth. Victor whispers, "Do we let him in?" Delaney hears it. "If Pritchard is inside, don't get close to him. He was exposed at the nursing home. He said he was fine. He wasn't." That decides it. I open the rear door and let him in. Delaney changes the station immediately. Not because he takes charge. He doesn't. He walks into the apparatus bay, sees Pritchard in the cage, sees the shower room door marked Alvarez, and stands still for a few seconds with both hands on his hips. Then he starts working. He knows where things are. He knows which medical bags are complete and which ones are missing critical pieces. He knows the radio channels, the engine fuel range, the generator's ugly sound, the weak locks, the backup batteries, the closet where spare bottled water is stored for rehab on fire scenes. He knows there should be 6 people on shift, and only 2 are accounted for in the building. "Captain Reyes took Medic 4 with Kim," he says while checking cabinets. Sullivan and Ortiz took the brush truck to assist at the highway pileup. Alvarez stayed back because dispatch was losing contact. Pritchard came in later from a nursing home call. He said a patient scratched him. Not bit. Scratched. He does not say more for a moment. Lena stands in the kitchen doorway listening. Delaney opens a medical drawer and removes several sealed masks. Scratch was enough. That changes the room, too. Harris looks at his bandaged cut. Delaney sees him. "Glass?" "Yes." "From a clean window or from someone sick hitting the glass?" Harris looks at Lena. Lena answers. "A sick woman hit the car window. Dad pulled me through the broken passenger door. His arm scraped the door frame." Delaney washes his hands, puts on gloves, and checks the wound again. He does not dramatize it. That helps everyone. He looks for crescent marks, deep punctures, saliva contamination, tissue tearing. He asks if the woman's mouth touched the wound. Harris says no. Lena says no too. "Watch it," Delaney says. "Fever, confusion, aggression, black fluid from the gums, new numbness, anything strange. Say something. Don't hide it." Harris gets offended. I'm not infected. Good. Then saying something won't hurt you. Harris shuts up. I like Delaney immediately for that, even though liking people now feels expensive. At 6:12 p.m., someone activates a siren outside. Not ours, somewhere down the street. Maybe a police car, maybe an ambulance. Maybe someone found a switch and thought loud meant safe. The sound rises fast, full and sharp, bouncing off houses and storefronts. Everyone in the station stops moving. Pritchard in the cage goes wild, slamming the mesh harder than before. From the lobby observation gap, I see the street change. Infected appear from places that looked empty. 2 from behind the delivery van, 1 from the tire shop lot, 3 from the direction of the grocery plaza. The woman in the raincoat turns away from the mailbox at last and starts toward the sound. Farther down, near the intersection, living people run across the road. A man in a red hoodie, a woman with a duffel bag, an older man limping. The siren keeps going. Delaney steps beside me and looks out. Somebody is trying to draw them off, he says. Or somebody is trapped. Both can be true. That is the first hard lesson of the station. Rescue logic does not die cleanly. It keeps trying to operate in a world that punishes it. Victor says, we can't go out there. No one argues. No one moves either. The siren stops after maybe 30 seconds. Its absence feels louder than the sound. The infected keep walking toward where it came from. The living people in the street see the fire station. Of course they do. The red building, the flag, the bay doors, the idea of help. The man in the red hoodie reaches our front door first and pounds on it. Open! Open the door! The woman with the duffel bag arrives behind him. The older man limps slower, looking back every few steps. More infected follow, drawn by the siren and now by the shouting. Harris says, we can't just watch. Delaney says, if we open the lobby, the station fills in 10 seconds. There are only 3 of them. Visible. The man in the red hoodie kicks the door. The barricade holds. He sees the plywood and starts pulling at the edges through the broken trim. Fire department, he screams. You have to open! The words are poison. You have to. Lena looks at the floor. Victor grips the pry bar until his knuckles pale. Tell them to go around back. No, I say. The older man reaches the door and falls against it. The woman with the duffel tries to pull him up. The red hoodie man keeps kicking. Steve's behind them. At least 8 infected are now close enough that every second matters. Delaney grabs the radio microphone and transmits on the exterior speaker system before I can ask if the station has one. Move away from the front door. His voice booms outside from a small speaker above the bay. Do not gather at the front entrance. Move east on Maple. Fire station is not a shelter. Move east now. The red hoodie man looks up, furious. Open the door. Delaney repeats, calmer. Move east on Maple. Do not stay at the entrance. The woman with the duffel understands. She pulls the older man hard, dragging him away from the door. The red hoodie man does not. He kicks again, then turns when the first infected reaches him. We can't see everything through the narrow gap. That is a mercy and not enough of one. The woman and older man make it past the delivery van. The red hoodie man does not make it far. His shouting changes. Lena leaves the lobby before anyone tells her to. Harris stays, face tight, staring through the gap. The infected spread across the front of the station after the noise. Hands slap plywood. Shoulders bump the door. The barricade shifts half an inch. Well stocked, Victor says under his breath. Nobody answers. Night does not fall all at once. It leaks into the station through covered windows and dirty skylights, turning every room into a place that needs rules. Delaney shuts off every non-essential light. The generator still runs, but we reduce load. Radio room, one kitchen light, one bay light, emergency exit signs, everything else off. The building settles into low hums and small clicks. Outside, infected remain near the front. Not a horde, not yet. Maybe 15. Maybe more beyond sight. They are not clever. They do not need to be. The front door only needs to fail once. We eat standing in the kitchen. Crackers, peanut butter, canned peaches, water from a pitcher. Nobody enjoys it. Harris asks about his wife twice, but not loudly now. Lena tells him her mother's school had emergency plans. She says it with careful certainty, the way a person says something for someone else's benefit. Harris nods because he needs to. Victor asks Delaney what happened at the nursing home. Delaney does not answer right away. He rinses a spoon, dries it, puts it in a drawer that no longer deserves the effort. People kept calling for falls, he says. Breathing trouble, altered mental status, normal calls. Then one patient attacked a nurse. The staff locked the wing. Another resident collapsed in the dining room and got up wrong. We called for law enforcement. No one came. Pritchard helped pull a nurse out of a room. He had a scratch on his neck. Said it was from a door latch. Maybe it was, maybe it wasn't. He looks toward the bay. By the time we loaded the first 2 patients, half the staff had left and family members were trying to force their way in. Captain Reyes told us to return here and regroup. We didn't all make it back. Nobody asks more. That is another thing people get wrong in stories. When disaster is real, nobody wants the full explanation while the door is still shaking. Details matter only when they help the next decision. At 8:03 p.m., the water pressure drops. The kitchen faucet coughs, spits brown, then slows to a thin stream. We fill the last containers fast, even the questionable ones. Delaney tells us not to drink the brown water unless we boil or treat it. The station has no huge reserve. Enough for a few people if careful. Not enough for the crowd outside if we open the doors. At 8:27 p.m., the radio catches a clear transmission. Station 2 is evacuating. Fire in adjacent structure unable to hold. Any units receiving avoid Civic Center corridor. Large group moving west. Unknown number infected mixed with civilians. Repeat, avoid Civic Center corridor. Delaney closes his eyes for 1 second. Then he marks Civic Center corridor on the map with red marker. I ask, how far? Less than 2 miles. Harris hears that and stands. Then we leave now. With what route? I ask. The engine. Roads are blocked. We don't know every road. Delaney points at the pre-plan map. Engine can push through light vehicles, not a pileup. Not concrete barriers, not a crowd. If we take it out and stop, everyone who hears it comes to us. Harris looks at his daughter. I'm not waiting to be surrounded. Lena says quietly, Dad, we don't know where Mom is. He turns on her, not cruelly, not intentionally, but desperate enough to grab at the wrong person. That's why we have to go. She flinches from his voice, not from fear of him, but from the knowledge that he is starting to choose motion over sense. I cut in before it becomes a family argument. We make a route first, then we decide. No one drives blind. That sounds reasonable because it is. It also buys time because nobody has a better plan. So we spread maps on the kitchen table. Delaney marks known blocks from radio traffic. Highway 16 East Ramp blocked. Hospital District unsafe. Civic Center corridor bad. Maple West dangerous. South grid water pressure dropping. Likely main break or power failure. The old Canal road may be open, but it passes behind the industrial park. The industrial park has fences, wide roads, and fewer houses. It also has warehouses full of things desperate people might have already found. The engine could carry us. The rescue pickup would be quieter and faster. My original plan on foot now looks childish, but vehicles create new problems. Fuel, noise, roadblocks, visibility, people begging to climb on, people trying to take the vehicle, infected following the sound until we stop. Lena points at a thin line behind the station. What about this? Service lane, Delaney says. Runs behind the old municipal buildings, comes out near the Canal Road. Can the engine fit? Barely, maybe not with abandoned cars. Can the pickup? Yes, Harris says. Then we take the pickup. Victor says, 5 of us in a fire department pickup with supplies? Better than dying here. The front door bangs hard enough to make the lobby barricade scrape. Everyone stops. Another bang. Not infected. Rhythmic. Metal on door. A voice calls from outside. Open the firehouse. We know people are in there. Delaney looks at me. Harris whispers, survivors. I go to the observation gap. There are 6 people at the front now. Living. At least 6. One holds a crowbar. Another has a kitchen knife. A woman carries a baby wrapped in a blanket. Behind them, she infected drift through the dark street in loose shapes, turning toward the voices. The man with the crowbar steps back and swings at the plywood covering the lobby glass. The station is obvious to everyone else, too. Delaney uses the speaker again. Move away from the entrance. This station cannot shelter additional people. Move east toward Maple and avoid groups. The man with the crowbar shouts back, We saw you let people in. Harris looks at me. I know what he is thinking because I am thinking it too. We did let people in. We made a judgment. That judgment now stands outside with a crowbar and a baby. The woman with the baby steps close to the door. Please, just the child. No one in the station speaks. This is the moral trap, and it is worse than I imagined because it does not arrive as a clean question. It arrives with noise, darkness, people you cannot inspect, infected behind them, and a door that cannot open halfway enough to save only innocence. If we open it, the crowbar man comes in. If we refuse, the woman stays outside. If we use force, we become something I am not ready to name. Delaney turns off the speaker. They'll break the front if they keep going. Victor says, We can bring them through the rear one at a time. No, Delaney says. We open rear, they hear it or run around. Then we have 2 breach points. I look toward the apparatus bay. Can we move the engine against the front from inside? Delaney understands before I finish. Use it as a brace? Not driving out, just forward. The engine is parked facing the bay doors, not the lobby, but the apparatus bay shares an interior wall with the lobby area. We cannot put the engine against the front door directly. We can move it to block the bay doors if people come around. Not enough. Lena says, What about the side speaker? Can you tell them infected are behind them? They know, Harris says. No, she says. I don't think they do. Not all. She is right. Desperate people narrow their world to the door in front of them. They stop seeing the street. Delaney gets on the speaker again, louder this time. Look behind you. Infected approaching from the west. Leave now or you will be trapped at the entrance. Look behind you. The woman with the baby turns first, then the others. The crowbar man curses. For a second, the group becomes human again instead of a force against our door. They see the infected closing from the delivery van, from the tire shop, from the dark beyond the mailbox. Then the group breaks apart. 3 run east. The woman with the baby follows. The crowbar man swings once more at the plywood before fleeing, not because it helps, but because anger needs somewhere to go. The last person, a heavy-set man in a work vest, stays too long. He keeps yelling that we are murderers. The infected reach him before he finishes. Victor leaves the lobby. Harris turns away too. Lena stays long enough to see the woman with the baby make it past the intersection. Then she steps back from the gap. No one says we did the right thing. That would be too easy. At 9:14 p.m., the generator fails. The station drops into emergency battery lighting. Red exit signs, dim wall units. The radio console stays alive on backup, but the desk lamps die. The hum outside stops. The sudden quiet is useful and awful. Joe Pritchard in the cage calms after a minute. The infected outside keep bumping the front, but less often now that the speaker is off and the generator no longer vibrates through the walls. Darkness gives us cover. It also removes comfort. Delaney wants to keep the generator off unless we need the bay doors or battery charging. I agree. Harris does not. What about heat? He asks. It's May, Delaney says. What about lights? Lights draw attention through gaps. What about the radio? Battery backup. Harris looks at me. So we just sit in the dark? No, I say. We pack. That gives everyone direction. We decide without making a formal vote. We cannot hold the station through the night if more survivors come. We cannot assume the crowd from Civic Center will miss us. We cannot feed or water whoever arrives. We cannot defend large glass and multiple doors with 5 tired people and no firearms. The station is stocked, but it is not defensible. Delaney says it plainly, and hearing it from someone who belongs here makes it final. We prepare to leave before dawn, when the street may be quieter and visibility good enough to drive without headlights for the first stretch. The vehicle choice is the rescue pickup. It is smaller, diesel, 4-door, with a covered equipment bed. Delaney knows it. It has less fuel but better chance through tight service lanes. We siphon from the engine into approved cans, then refuel the pickup inside the bay with all doors closed and fans off. The smell gets sharp. We move slowly. No sparks. No stupid mistakes. We pack medical bags, water, food, gloves, masks, 2 turnout coats, helmets, flashlights, spare batteries, maps, a bolt cutter, a Halligan, rope, 2 axes, and the portable radios. Not everything. That is the painful part. Fire stations are full of useful things until you have to carry them. Then usefulness becomes weight. Harris wants to bring oxygen bottles for his wife in case she needs help. Delaney says oxygen bottles are heavy, dangerous if damaged, and useless without knowing the situation. Harris argues. Delaney wins by refusing to load them. Lena packs quietly. She chooses water over extra food. Good choice. She takes a small, stuffed keychain from her backpack and clips it inside, hidden. I pretend not to notice. Victor finds a firefighter's spare duffel and fills it with tools until he can barely lift it. I make him remove half. He swears at me, then removes the sledgehammer and 3 duplicate wrenches. We both know he would not have carried it 50 yards. I take Alvarez's portable radio after wiping it clean. I also take the key ring. Before leaving the bay, I write the station's fuel level and generator status on the whiteboard out of habit, then feel stupid for doing it. Delaney sees it and nods once. Leave information for the next crew, he says. There may not be one. Still. So I finish writing. At 10:36 p.m., Harris tries to open the front door. Lena catches him first. She says, "Dad," in a voice that makes me turn from the medical closet. Harris stands in the lobby with one hand on the barricade cabinet and the other on the door latch. He has moved quietly, which means some part of him knew it was wrong. Through the observation gap, infected shapes shift near the entrance. Not many. Enough. Delaney steps in behind me. Harris does not look guilty. He looks wrecked. "My wife might come here," he says. "She won't get through the front," I say. "You don't know that." "I know opening it now gets us surrounded." He points toward the dark street. "You heard those people. They know we're here. Others will come. What if she comes and we're gone?" Lena's face changes at that, but she does not cry. She looks older in the red emergency light. Not stronger, just forced forward. "Mom would go to the school shelter," she says. Harris shakes his head. "Your mother would come to a fire station. Everyone would." That is the worst part. He is not irrational, not fully. People do go to fire stations. People trust them. People see the red doors and think help lives inside. Delaney keeps his voice low. "We can leave a note." Harris laughs once. It is a bad sound. A note. On the rear fence, not front, we mark our route. Then strangers follow us. Maybe. You're all making choices with my family. That accusation lands because it contains enough truth to hurt. I step closer but keep my hands visible. "Harris, if you open that door, your daughter may not leave this building." He looks at Lena. He looks at the latch. For 1 second, I think he will do it anyway. Then he takes his hand off the door. Lena walks to him and pulls him away. He lets her. That is the last time I see Harris act ahead of his fear for a while. After that, he becomes quiet and obedient in a way I don't trust. People who go quiet under pressure are either steady or waiting. The next problem comes from inside the cage. Pritchard stops making noise. At first, that seems good. Then Delaney notices. "He shouldn't be that quiet," he says. We stand in the bay with flashlights angled low. The storage cage is 10 feet by 8 feet, mesh walls, metal shelves, spare hose fittings, old equipment. Pritchard is on the floor near the back, partly hidden behind a stack of folded tarps. "Maybe he died," Victor says. Delaney does not move closer. "Maybe." "Can they die again?" Lena asks from the kitchen doorway. No one answers fast enough. Pritchard's foot shifts. Not dead. Then the shelf behind him moves. A small metallic tap comes from inside the cage. Then another. Delaney's flashlight catches the problem. Pritchard has hooked both hands around a loose shelf upright and is pulling, not with strategy, not with understanding, but with relentless repetition. The lower bolts have already torn partly from the wall. If the shelf comes down, it could strike the cage latch or create leverage against the mesh. Maybe nothing. Maybe enough. "We need to stop him," Victor says. "How?" Harris asks. I already know. I hate it. The cage has a small service hatch for passing equipment, maybe 18 inches wide, locked with a separate latch. We can use a pike pole through the mesh, but the angle is bad. If we open the main cage, we risk everything. If we ignore him, he may weaken the enclosure. Delaney grabs a pike pole and threads it through the mesh, trying to hook Pritchard's turnout suspenders and drag him away from the shelf. Pritchard reacts the second the pole touches him. He grabs it with both hands. Delaney pulls back. Pritchard does not let go. Victor helps. The pole jerks free suddenly and slams into the mesh with a loud crack. Outside, infected answer with movement against the bay door. Quiet. Lena whispers, not to anyone in particular. Pritchard resumes pulling the shelf. We need a different solution. I take a length of rope from the rescue bag and make a loop with a knot my father taught me for hauling branches, not for this. Delaney checks it and adjusts it without comment. We thread the rope through the mesh using the pike pole, trying to drop the loop over Pritchard's shoulders. It takes 4 tries. Each failed attempt makes noise. Each noise brings more bumps from outside. On the 5th try, the loop catches around his upper arms. Victor and I pull. Delaney guides the rope around a cage post for leverage. Pritchard slides across the concrete, fighting the whole way. His boots scrape. His hands claw at the rope. We pull until his back hits the mesh near the front, then tie the rope off around the post. He is not stopped. He is restricted. That has to be enough. Harris watches from behind the engine. His face shows disgust. "That was a man," he says. Delaney looks at him. "He was. Remember that before you hide a scratch." Harris says nothing else. At 11:40 p.m., rain starts. Light at first, tapping on the roof vents, then steadier. In another life, rain would have made the station feel safer. Now it changes sound. It covers movement outside. It makes the street shine through observation gaps. It cools the air and carries smoke lower. I use the thermal camera from the bay window gap. The world outside becomes gray and white shapes. Infected show as dim human forms. Cooler at the edges, yet warmer around the torso and head. Living people would look similar. That is a problem. Heat does not tell intentions. There are more outside now. 20 at least, maybe 30. Not all at the front. Some near the side lot, some at the rear alley. The station has become a point of interest. Noise brought them. People brought more. Light leaks maybe brought some too. Or maybe they wander until obstacles stop them. I stop trying to make one explanation do all the work. Delaney checks the pickup again. We load it through the bay, keeping the rear hatch open only long enough to place bags. The rescue pickup has a push bumper, winch, light bar, radios, and compartments. Delaney disconnects the siren control fuse because none of us trust panic. He tapes over most interior lights. He checks the tires, oil, coolant, battery. He moves with practiced speed, but his face changes when he touches certain things. The driver's seat, the radio mic, the department logo on the door. This is not just a vehicle to him. It is a piece of a life that may already be over. I leave him alone with that for 30 seconds, then hand him the fuel can. He takes it and says, "Thanks." That is all. Just after midnight, a voice comes from the rear alley. Not close, not loud. A woman calling from somewhere beyond the fence. "Hello? Is anyone there?" Everyone hears it. Harris stands first. Of course he does. "That could be, it's not Mom," Lena says. He stops. The woman calls again. "Please, I saw the lights, I'm hurt." Delaney turns off the kitchen light. We all stand in emergency red and rain noise. Victor whispers, "Could be a trap." That sounds harsh until the next sound proves he is at least partly right. A man whispers outside, too close to the woman, too careless. "Say it again." Then the woman says louder, "I'm alone." Harris looks sick. Lena closes her eyes. People are already using help as bait. Delaney points silently toward the rear door. I take the thermal camera and move to the small reinforced window beside it. Through rain and mesh fence, I can see 3 heat shapes near the white pickup in the alley. One crouched, one standing, one moving toward the generator pad. I whisper, 3, maybe more. The standing shape waves both arms. The voice comes again. Please. The crouched shape moves along the fence line toward the gate. Delaney checks the rear door bolts. Victor grips the Halligan. Harris takes the pry bar from earlier. Lena has a flashlight in one hand and a can of cooking spray from the kitchen in the other. Nobody laughs. The gate chain rattles outside. A man says, "Cut it." Metal clicks. Bolt cutters. They brought tools. This changes the schedule. Dawn is no longer guaranteed. The rear exit may be compromised in minutes. Delaney whispers, "We leave now or lose the alley." I nod. No vote, no debate, we move. Leaving a stocked building is harder than entering an empty one. Every shelf accuses me. Every tool looks like the one I will need later. Every sealed medical pack feels foolish to abandon. But wait kills, delay kills, and the rear gate chain is already under attack. Delaney starts the rescue pickup only after everyone is inside and the bay door is ready. The engine turns over once, twice, then catches with a diesel growl that sounds loud enough to wake the whole county. He kills the headlights. Dashboard glow stays low under tape. I sit front passenger with the map and radio. Victor and Harris sit in back. Lena sits between them with the medical bag at her feet. The plan is ugly but workable. Open the rear bay door enough to reverse into the alley? No. The pickup faces forward toward the bay doors. We cannot turn it inside without moving the engine. So we go out the front apparatus bay, cut hard right, cross the apron, take the side lot, then turn behind the station if the gate holds, or push through the side access if it doesn't. Front has infected. Rear has living attackers. Side has unknown. Unknown wins. Delaney looks at me. Manual door? Motor may work if battery backup holds. If it jams, then I pull chain. He nods. I step out, hit the bay door control, and the overhead door rises with a tortured mechanical groan. The street hears it. Infected at the front turn toward the widening gap. Rain blows under the door. The pickup idles behind me. I keep one hand on the control and one on the Halligan. The door reaches 4 feet. 5. Enough. Go! I shout. Delaney drives. I dive into the passenger seat as the pickup rolls forward. The door is not fully open. The roof light bar clears by inches. Something slams against the driver's side as we exit. An infected bounces off the push bumper and drops out of sight. Delaney does not speed. That surprises me until I realize he is avoiding a skid on wet pavement. The front of the station fills with movement. Hands slap the sides. One infected grabs the passenger mirror. I hit its fingers with the Halligan through the cracked window gap, and it falls away. Harris curses in the back. Victor tells him to keep low. Lena says nothing. Delaney cuts right across the apron. The tires jump the curb, then bite into wet grass. We pass the flagpole close enough that the rope clanks against it. 2 infected step from the side of the building. Delaney threads between them and the delivery van. The rear gate comes into view. The chain is cut. The white pickup from the alley is partly blocking the service lane. 2 living men stand near it, both startled by our sudden exit. One holds bolt cutters. The woman who called for help is behind them, no longer pretending to be injured. Delaney accelerates. The man with bolt cutters jumps back. The other one tries to wave us down with a handgun. "Gun!" Victor shouts. Delaney does not stop. The shot cracks through the rain and punches the rear side window. Glass bursts inward over Harris and Lena. Lena drops flat. Harris grabs her and pulls her down. Delaney rams the white pickup at an angle with the push bumper. Metal screams. The blocking truck slides enough to open a gap. Our pickup scrapes through, passenger side grinding against the fence post. Another shot hits somewhere behind us. I do not look back. Looking back does not steer. We break into the service lane behind the municipal buildings. The fire station disappears behind rain, red brick, and infected shapes closing around the open bay door. Nobody speaks for 5 full blocks. The service lane is narrow, lined with dumpsters, utility poles, and parked county vehicles. Delaney drives without headlights, using the gray shine of rain and the dim dashboard to keep centered. Twice he slows for abandoned cars. Once Victor gets out and moves a rolling trash bin while I cover him with a flashlight held low. Infected follow far behind, but the rain and engine noise blur distance. We do not know how many. Harris checks Lena for cuts from the broken window. She has a shallow line on her cheek from glass. Delaney says not to touch it with dirty hands. Harris keeps saying sorry, though he did not fire the gun. Lena tells him she is fine, then stops saying it when it clearly does not help. The radio crackles in the console. Station 4, if receiving, report status, Station 4. Delaney's jaw shifts. He does not answer. I understand why. The station is gone as a holdout. If we transmit, we might draw people to us. If we say Station 4 is compromised, dispatch may mark it lost. Maybe that helps someone. Maybe nobody can act on it. I pick up the mic anyway. Dispatch, this is civilian unit leaving Station 4 with Delaney from Medic 4. Station 4 compromised. Survivors and infected at location. Do not route civilians there. Static. Then the woman's voice returns, weaker than before. Copy. Station 4 compromised. Identify destination. I look at Delaney. He shakes his head once. I press the mic. No fixed destination. Attempting Canal Road south. Canal Road, be advised. Reports of barricade at water treatment access. Unknown group stopping vehicles. Use caution. My old workplace sits near that access. Of course it does. And the place I was trying to reach by foot. The place my brain still treated as possible because I knew the layout. Any safe shelter? I ask. A long silence. Then, no confirmed public shelter in Ashford. No confirmed public shelter. I set the mic down. Harris laughs without humor from the back. So there's nowhere. Delaney keeps driving. There are places, just not public ones. That is not comfort. It is truth. We reach the end of the service lane at 12:31 a.m. A chain-link gate blocks the exit onto a narrow road behind the old permit office. It is locked with a county padlock. Beyond it, the Canal Road curves south along a drainage channel. No traffic visible. No infected in the immediate area. Rain falling harder now. Water running along the curb in dirty sheets. Delaney stops short. She bolt cutters. Victor grabs them from the rear floor. I'll do it. I'll go with him, I say. We step out into the rain. The air smells of smoke, diesel, and wet dust. Victor moves to the chain and positions the cutters. His hands slip once. I keep the flashlight pointed at the lock, not the road. Light discipline. I learned that phrase years ago from a co-worker who loved prepper forums and annoyed everyone. He was annoying. He was also right about half the things we laughed at. The lock snaps on Victor's second try. From the left, someone says, "Stop right there." Not infected. Human. I turn slowly. A security guard stands under the awning of the permit office with a shotgun pointed at us. Older man, gray beard, rain jacket. He looks more scared than aggressive, but the shotgun is real. Delaney lowers his window. County fire. Passing through. The guard keeps the shotgun up. Station's gone? Delaney does not answer. The guard nods to himself. Knew it. Saw people headed that way. I keep my hands away from the Halligan. We're not here for trouble. Everybody says that before trouble. Fair. A second person steps out behind him, a woman in a county clerk sweater holding a flashlight. She looks at the pickup logo, then at Delaney. Are you taking people to shelter? She asks. There it is again. The expectation. The red vehicle means help. The uniform jacket means authority. The word shelter still exists in people's mouths, even after every shelter fails. Delaney says, No public shelter confirmed. We have limited room and an injured minor. Lena is not really injured beyond the cut, but nobody corrects him. The guard looks past us at the road. We've got 9 people inside. Harris leans forward in the back. I can feel him preparing to argue for or against, not sure which. The clerk says, there were more. Some left for the fire station. Nobody says what that means. Delaney speaks carefully. Do you have food, water, secure doors? For now, the guard says. Then stay dark. Don't use that shotgun unless you have no choice. Noise will pull infected from the road. You got radios? 1 portable to spare, Delaney says. I glance at him. Giving up a radio hurts. He knows it. He reaches into the console and hands me a portable. I walk it halfway to the guard and set it on the ground. I do not approach closer with a shotgun pointed in my direction. Delaney calls out the channel and basic use. The clerk repeats it to prove she understands. The guard lowers the shotgun a few inches. Can you spare medical? Delaney hesitates only a second, then passes me a small bandage pack. Not a full trauma bag. Not enough to weaken us badly, enough to remain human. I set that down too. The clerk says thank you. The guard says nothing. We open the gate and drive through. Victor closes it behind us but does not relock it. I notice, so does Delaney. Neither of us says anything. A locked gate can save or trap. Tonight I am done pretending I always know which. The Canal Road is worse than the maps promised. Low water has overflowed the drainage channel in places, spreading across the asphalt in shallow moving sheets. Abandoned cars sit at odd angles, some with doors open, some with windows broken from inside or outside. A school bus blocks the northbound lane near the recycling center. Delaney squeezes past it on the shoulder, the pickup tilting toward the ditch until everyone goes silent. We pass a gas station at the corner of Canal and 3rd. The pumps are dark. The convenience store has been looted. 2 bodies lie near the entrance under rain. No infected visible, which bothers me more than visible infected would. Empty scenes hide timing. Maybe danger already moved on. Maybe it is inside. Harris asks to stop for fuel. No, Delaney says. There could be diesel. There could be 10 people waiting. We need fuel. We have fuel. Not enough for forever. Delaney's eyes stay forward. Nothing is enough for forever. That shuts him down, but only briefly. The route south toward the water treatment access takes us past the industrial park. I know every turn here. I used to drive this road before dawn when the plant needed emergency repairs. Warehouse fences, loading docks, utility yards, gravel lots full of pipe sections and old pallets. It should be empty at night. It is not. At least 4 fires burn inside the industrial park. Small ones, barrel fires maybe, people. I see figures moving near the fenced lot of a plumbing supplier. Flashlights. A hand-painted sign hung across the gate reads, Fuel for food. Another sign beside it reads, No sick. Delaney slows. I say, Don't. He glances at me. That wasn't there yesterday, I say. Too organized, too fast. It's a stop point. Harris leans forward. Maybe they trade. Maybe they take. The pickup rolls past without stopping. A flashlight beam catches us. Then another. Someone whistles. A vehicle engine starts behind the fence. Still think it's nothing? I ask. Harris does not answer. Delaney accelerates, but not enough to skid. We pass the water treatment access road. The main gate is barricaded with 2 dump trucks and a line of orange cones that look ridiculous until I see armed men standing behind them. Not police, not plant staff. One of them wears a reflective vest over body armor. Another raises a rifle. Delaney turns before the barricade, taking the old maintenance road along the canal. A shot cracks behind us, then another. Neither hits. The pickup drops into a pothole hard enough to slam the medical bag against Lena's legs. She grabs it and holds on. The maintenance road is not meant for through traffic. It is gravel, mud, and broken asphalt running along the backside of the canal. Some brush scrapes the doors. Water fills ruts. Delaney handles it better than I expected. The fire station pickup earns its keep here, not with size, but with suspension and tires. Behind us, headlights appear. One vehicle. Maybe the one from the industrial park. Maybe the barricade. Maybe both. Victor looks through the broken rear side window, keeping low. Truck behind us. Distance? Delaney asks. 200 yards? Gaining. Harris says, use the light bar. Delaney says, no. Blind them. Light ourselves too. I study the map under dim light. The maintenance road reconnects with Canal after the old pump house. Before that, a service bridge crosses the drainage channel. Weight limit may be bad. Narrow. If we cross and block it, we may slow pursuit. If the bridge is damaged, we trap ourselves. Bridge ahead, I say. Left in half a mile. I know it, Delaney says. So do I. It's narrow. Can it hold us? It held county trucks. When? Before. He lets out a short breath, not a laugh. Good enough. The pursuing truck gains as the road straightens. Its headlights bounce hard over the ruts, bright in the rain. Someone leans from the passenger window with a flashlight or weapon. Hard to tell. Delaney keeps our headlights off, which makes every turn a commitment. The canal water runs black beside us. Fence posts flick past the passenger side, close enough to scrape paint. The bridge appears late, a low concrete service crossing with metal railings and weeds growing through cracks. Delaney brakes, turns left, and the pickup fishtails before catching. We hit the bridge at an angle. The left mirror clips a railing and folds in. The rear tires slide. For a second, the canal fills my window. Then we are across. Stop? Victor asks. No, Delaney says. Not on the bridge. He drives another 50 yards, then stops near a pile of old concrete barriers. Out. Move one. The chasing truck reaches the far side of the bridge. We jump out into rain and mud. Victor, Harris, and I push a concrete barrier chunk with rebar handles half across the road. It weighs too much. It barely moves. Lena gets out and grabs two. Harris yells at her to get back in, then stops because she is helping more than he is. The truck behind us starts onto the bridge. Delaney opens a side compartment and pulls road flares. No flame, I say. He ignores the flare striker and instead throws two unlit flares onto the road behind the barrier. She then aims his flashlight at them so the red casings show. From a distance in rain, maybe they look official. Maybe not. The truck slows. The driver sees the barrier, the narrow road, our fire department pickup. Maybe thinks roadblock. Maybe thinks trap. He stops on the bridge. That is enough. We get back in. Delaney drives. Behind us, the truck horn blares once, angry and useless. Then another sound rises from the dark near the canal. Infected. drawn by engines, gunshots, horn, all of it. The truck's headlights swing as it reverses off the bridge. We do not stay to see what happens. By 2:05 a.m., the pickup is low on fuel and the rain has slowed to mist. We reach the south edge of Ashford near the old fairgrounds. The fairgrounds were supposed to be an emergency distribution point during storms. I know that because the county ran drills there. Big parking lots, chain-link fences, barns, open pavilions. Terrible for infected if crowded. Useful if empty. It is not empty. From a rise near the access road, we see dozens of vehicles packed near the main gate. Some parked neatly, most abandoned. Camp lanterns glow inside the fence. People move around them. Too many people. Too much noise. A banner hangs crooked from the ticket booth. Relief check-in. Harris sits up. There, that's shelter. Delaney stops the pickup but keeps it in gear. We watch. A group at the gate argues with another group inside. Even from a distance, the body language is wrong. People pressing forward, people holding them back. Flashlights swinging. Someone fires a gun into the air. The crowd surges away, then forward again. On the far side of the parking lot, infected move between cars, drawn by sound and blocked by fences. Some are already inside the outer perimeter. Not many. Enough. Lena says, Mom could be there. Harris looks at her sharply. She has given voice to the thing he wants, and now he does not know whether to grab it or fear it. Delaney says, if we enter that lot, we may not get out. Harris says, you don't know that. I say, we can circle, look for school buses, district vehicles, anything from her school. Lena gives me a grateful look I do not deserve. We take the perimeter road with lights still off. The fairgrounds fence runs along our right. The crowd noise fades in and out depending on wind. At the east side, near the livestock barns, we find 3 school buses parked nose to tail. One has the name of Lena's mother's school district on the side, so Harris grabs the door handle before the pickup fully stops. I catch his sleeve. Wait, he pulls free. That's her school. Could be empty. Then we check. Delaney parks behind a maintenance shed, hidden from the main lot. 2 minutes. Quiet. No hero moves. We go on foot. Harris, Lena, me. Delaney stays with the pickup. Victor watches the rear. I do not like splitting up. I also know Harris will run alone if we refuse. The buses sit in wet grass near the barn entrance. The first is empty except for blankets and spilled bottled water. The second has blood on the steps and no people. The third has movement inside. Harris whispers his wife's name. Mara? A woman answers from the rear of the bus. Who's there? Not Mara. Older voice. Lena climbs the first step before I stop her. I'm looking for my mom, Mara Bell. She works at Westbrook Elementary. The woman inside shifts closer. She is maybe 60, wearing a school staff badge. Her glasses are cracked. 2 children sleep or pretend to sleep across the seats behind her. She looks at Lena and then Harris. Mara got on the second convoy, she says. Harris grips the bus handrail. Where? County North Shelter, before noon. That shelter breached, I say before I can stop myself. The woman closes her eyes. She already knows, or suspected. Lena asks, did she get out? I don't know, sweetheart. Harris steps back from the bus. For a second, I think he will fold. Instead, he turns toward the fairgrounds lights. Then she may be inside. The older woman grabs his sleeve through the bus door. Don't go there. They started checking people at the gate, then people rushed. Some sick got through. The barns are not secure. Did you see Mara inside? No. Then you don't know. Lena says, Dad. Harris looks at her. Rain drips from his hair. His bandaged arm hangs stiff at his side. I have to check. No one moves. This is the same decision from the fire station in a new shape. Door open or closed. Help or survival. Family or sense. Only now I understand that no rule survives contact with someone's missing wife. Delaney's voice whispers over the portable radio. Movement near your position. Wrap it up. I look toward the barns. Several infected drift from the open livestock gate, drawn by the crowd at first, then by us. Slow but closing. Harris, I say, we leave now, or your daughter runs from here without you. He looks at Lena again. That reaches him. Not completely. Enough. He steps back from the bus. Ju, the older woman, says, "Take the children." Delaney's voice on the radio. "Owen, now." I look inside the bus. 2 children, maybe 8 and 10. The older woman, 3 more people. We have 5 in a pickup already. No room. Not safely. Not honestly. Lena sees my face and understands before I speak. The older woman says again, "Please." I ask, "Can the bus run?" No key. I pull the fire station key ring. No bus key. Of course not. Harris looks at the children, then toward the fairgrounds. His entire world is tearing in 2 directions. I hand the woman one portable radio. The one Delaney gave to the permit office is gone. This is one of ours. We are down another lifeline. I tell her the channel. I give her our spare water bottle from my pack and 2 food packets. Pathetic. Real. Stay dark, I say. I move only if the fence fails. The woman looks at me with a hatred I accept. We run back to the pickup as infected reach the first bus. The pickup leaves the fairgrounds with more silence inside than before. Harris does not accuse me. That would be easier. Lena does not either. She sits with her backpack against her knees and looks out through the broken window space. Rain dots her cheek. She does not wipe it away. Delaney drives south on a county road lined with dark fields and drainage ditches. Fuel warning light comes on at 2:38 a.m. He taps the gauge once, not because tapping helps, but because people still perform old habits around failing machines. Victor asks, "What's the plan now?" No one answers. I unfold the map. South of Ashford, the road crosses farmland. Tuka then reaches a volunteer fire substation in a township called Briar Creek. Smaller than Station 4. Maybe empty. Maybe stripped. Maybe worse. West is highway, bad. East is river road. Flooded often, but less populated. My apartment is gone. The water plant is controlled by armed men. The fairgrounds are failing. The fire station is lost. Every answer shrinks after we reach it. Delaney says, "There's a training facility outside Briar Creek. Fire Academy Annex. Classrooms, tower, fenced yard. Not a public station, less obvious." "Stocked?" Victor asks. "Some tools, maybe fuel, maybe nothing. Defensible? Better fence, fewer glass doors." I study the map. "How far?" 8 miles. Fuel gauge says maybe. Road says maybe. Night says maybe. Harris speaks for the first time in 20 minutes. If Mara reached the North Shelter and got out, she might go there. Some official place. Delaney does not answer. I could challenge the logic. I could tell him his wife has no reason to choose a Fire Academy Annex unless she knows Delaney's brain. I could tell him Hope is now picking locations out of fog. I don't. Not because he is right, because taking that away serves no immediate purpose. Lena says softly, "Then we check." So we do. The road to Briar Creek is not clear, but it is passable. We avoid 2 clusters of infected by cutting through a farm lane and nearly getting stuck in wet clay. Victor has to get out and guide Delaney around a washed-out culvert. Harris helps clear a fallen branch from the road without being asked. That matters. Activity saves him from thought for a few minutes. At 3:22 a.m., the pickup sputters once. Delaney says, "No." It sputters again. We coast down a slight grade with the engine coughing. Ahead, a sign points toward Briar Creek Fire Training Annex. Half a mile. The engine dies before the turn. Delaney steers to the shoulder and lets the pickup roll behind a line of trees. It stops with a final shudder. Nobody moves for a second. Then we unload. No drama, no speeches, just bags, tools, water, medical gear, maps. We strip the pickup fast. Delaney takes the radio mic, then realizes it is vehicle-powered and useless without the truck. He leaves it. His hand stays on it one extra second. We walk. The road is dark, wet, and open. Too open. The training annex sits beyond a low hill, according to the sign. Fields on both sides, a drainage ditch to the right, trees ahead. We move in a staggered line because Delaney tells us to, and nobody argues now. Victor carries the bolt cutters and one bag. Harris carries water and medical supplies. Lena carries her backpack and a flashlight she keeps pointed at the ground. I carry the Halligan and the map. Delaney carries an axe and the remaining radio. Behind us, something bumps inside the dead pickup. Everyone stops. Another bump. The rear compartment door shifts. Victor whispers, "No." Delaney looks at the compartment where we stored gear from Station 4. It was closed. It should be empty now. A hand slaps against the inside of the small side compartment. Harris steps back. "Someone was in there?" "No, not someone. Something smaller. Not a person." Delaney approaches with the axe raised, then stops and listens. A low growl comes from inside. A dog. Not infected. Trapped. The compartment latch must have been open at the station or the fairgrounds. Maybe a firehouse dog? No, Station 4 had no dog that I saw. Maybe it climbed in at the fairgrounds. Maybe it hid from the crowd. None of that matters. It is alive and scared and about to make noise. "We leave it," Harris says. Lena says, "No." The word is immediate. I do not want another moral test over a dog. I also know a trapped animal will bark until infected come. Delaney opens the compartment from the side, standing clear. A muddy brown dog bursts out, medium-sized, ribs visible, collar missing. It hits the ground, slips, recovers, and freezes when it sees us. It does not bark. Good dog, smart dog. Lena crouches without reaching. The dog backs away, then sniffs the air. "We can't take it," Harris says. The dog looks down the road, then back at us. In the distance, infected shapes move near the field entrance, drawn by the truck noise or our voices. Lena stands. It can follow or not. That is the decision, clean enough. We keep walking. After 20 yards, the dog follows. The training annex appears at 3:48 a.m. It is not impressive, and that is why I like it immediately. A squat classroom building, a metal training tower, a fenced yard with concrete pads, a few storage sheds, and a gravel lot. No big red public front, no flag lit by floodlights, no glass lobby promising rescue. The sign is small enough to miss in the dark. The front gate is closed with a chain. Victor cuts it. The sound is too loud, but necessary. We slip inside and pull the gate shut behind us, looping the broken chain to look closed from a distance. The classroom building has a steel door and narrow windows. Locked. Delaney's fire department keys do not work. Of course, different facility, different locks. We circle once. No obvious breach, no crowd, no infected inside the fence that we can see. The dog stays close to Lena but does not let her touch it. A side storage shed has a padlock. Victor cuts that too. Inside are training hoses, traffic cones, old helmets, empty air cylinders, a stack of plywood, and 2 metal cabinets. One cabinet contains bottled water for classes, dusty but sealed. The other contains rope, gloves, eye protection, and expired first aid supplies. Not a paradise, a chance. We move into the shed first because it opens inward and has no windows. It smells of rubber and dust. We close the door, brace it with a coil of hose, and sit on the floor among training equipment while the dark outside becomes less black. Nobody sleeps. Not really. Delaney checks the radio. Static. A few broken transmissions too faint to place. Harris unwraps his bandage under Delaney's supervision. The wound is red, but not wrong. Lena finally gets the dog to take water from a shallow plastic lid. Victor sits with his back against the cabinet and stares at his hands. At 4:30 a.m., the eastern sky begins to pale. The world does not get better with dawn, it just gets visible. From the training yard, I can see smoke columns over Ashford. More than one. The fairgrounds direction has a dark smear rising low. The highway is silent. That is new. Highways should not be silent. Even in the middle of the night, they carry something. Trucks, wind, distant tires. Now there is only birdsong returning too early, the drip of rain from the shed roof, and occasional infected noise beyond the fence. Delaney stands beside me. He looks older than he did at the station. "You were right," I say. "About what?" "Well-stocked doesn't mean defensible." He looks at the classroom building. Fire stations were built so people could find us. Bad design for hiding. Good design for the old world. That lands harder than I expect. We spend dawn turning the training annex into something quieter than hope. Not a home, not a fortress. A temporary position with better odds than the last one. Victor and I board the lower windows of the classroom building after Delaney breaks the lock cleanly with the Halligan. The inside has tables, chairs, training posters, a small office, bathrooms, and a kitchenette with stale coffee packets and nothing worth celebrating. Still, it has walls. It has interior rooms. It has a roof. The plumbing gives one cough of water, then stops. We use what we brought. Delaney finds a hand-crank weather radio in a drawer. Mostly static. One emergency broadcast loops every few minutes from the state, telling residents to avoid travel, shelter in secure structures, report bites or exposure, and await further instructions. It sounds professionally recorded. It also sounds abandoned. Harris writes a note for Mara on a piece of printer paper. Mara Bell, Harris and Lena alive. Moved south from Ashford Station 4, fire training annex near Briar Creek. If safe, come quiet. Do not use main roads. He wants to post it at the fairgrounds, the station, the school, everywhere. We cannot. So he posts one copy inside the annex office window facing the yard, hidden from the road, but visible if someone reaches the fence. He makes 3 more copies and folds them into his pocket. It gives his hands something to do. Lena names the dog Patch because of a pale spot on its chest. Harris objects to naming animals during emergencies, then finds a strip of training rope to make it a loose collar. People are inconsistent. That is one of the few reliable things left. At 6:10 a.m., the radio catches dispatch again. Any unit, be advised. Ashford Station 4 fully involved structure fire. Exposures on Bravo side. No response available. Delaney sits down. No one speaks. Fully involved. Structure fire. That means the station is burning. Maybe from the open bay. Maybe from the generator. Maybe from the people who broke in. Maybe from something we did. Maybe from something we failed to do. The stocked kitchen, the gear racks, the engine, Alvarez's name on tape, Pritchard in the cage, the radio room, the whiteboard with my note. All of it going up without a crew to stop it. Harris looks at Delaney. "I'm sorry." Delaney nods but does not answer. The station did not stay safe forever. It barely stayed safe for one evening. By mid-morning, infected begin gathering at the outer fence. Not many at first. 3 along the roadside. 2 near the back drainage ditch. 1 caught against the gate, pushing without understanding the latch. The fence holds, but chain link is not a wall. It buys time. It also shows anyone watching exactly where we are. We do not use loud tools. We move furniture by lifting, not dragging. We cover reflective surfaces. We keep one person watching at all times. Delaney teaches us basic radio discipline and how to mark a map with confirmed danger instead of rumors. Victor sets up a rain catch using a clean tarp from the shed, angled into storage bins. Harris sorts food by day. Lena cleans the small cut on her cheek and checks Patch for injuries with more care than she gives herself. I take the first watch from the training tower stairs. From there I can see the road we came in on, the dead pickup far away near the tree line, and beyond that the edge of Ashford under dirty morning light. The fire station's smoke column is darker now. Somewhere near town, a siren starts for 3 seconds, then dies. That short sound sends several infected near our fence turning in unison. I think about the station's front door, the woman with the baby, the crowbar man, the old permit office, the bus at the fairgrounds. Every closed door from last night has followed us here. None of those choices feel clean in daylight. I don't think they are supposed to. Clean choices belong to the old world too. Delaney climbs the stairs and stands beside me. Radio says County Command is relocating, he says. To where? Didn't say. Do you believe them? He watches the smoke. I believe somebody said it into a microphone. That is the only honest answer. Near noon, a school district van appears on the road. White, muddy, moving slow. We see it from far enough away to get inside and set positions. Delaney at the gate with the axe hidden behind his leg. Victor behind the classroom door with the Halligan. Harris in the office, shaking so badly he has to put both hands flat on the desk. Lena beside him, she's silent. Patch under the table, ears up. The van stops 20 yards from the gate. A woman gets out. She wears a torn blue raincoat and carries one backpack. Her hair is tied back badly. She limps, but she is not infected. She raises both hands when she sees Delaney. Harris makes a sound I will remember for the rest of my life. Mara. He runs before anyone can stop him. Delaney opens the gate just enough, fast, controlled, and Harris goes through. For one terrifying second, I think the road will explode with infected or gunfire or some new trick. It doesn't. Harris reaches his wife and stops short, afraid to touch her until he checks her face, her arms, her hands. She does the same to him. Then Lena runs. This time nobody stops her. Mara Bell made it out of the North Shelter with a school van, 4 staff members, and 11 children. By morning, she had 1 staff member and 3 children left. She does not tell the full story in the road. She gives only what matters. The van has almost no fuel. 1 child has a fever from exposure, not infection as far as she knows. No bites. 1 staff member is hurt. They saw Harris's note at the fairgrounds because the older woman from the bus used the radio we left and told them about us. so the small thing mattered. Not enough to save everyone, enough to save a path. We bring them in one at a time. Inspection first, no exceptions. Harris hates it until Mara tells him not to be stupid. Then he helps. Delaney checks wounds. We isolate the feverish child in the office with her mother, not as punishment, as caution. The annex grows from 5 people and a dog to 12 people and a dog in less than an hour. The moral trap returns, but it returns differently now. This place is less obvious. The group is smaller. The fence still holds. We have no abundance, but we have enough for a plan. That is the dangerous word. Plan. By afternoon, we make one. Not a forever plan. A 48-hour plan. That is all anyone deserves to claim. We stay quiet. We improve the fence with training ladders, hose, and wire. We collect rainwater. We ration food. We send no radio transmissions except short scheduled checks. We do not mark the road. We do not run lights at night. We do not use sirens for any reason. We scout only in pairs, only during daylight, only within sight of return routes. We prepare to abandon the annex if a crowd forms. Delaney says the last part twice. No one argues. Harris stands near Mara while she rests against the office wall. Lena asleep beside her with Patch's head on her shoe. His bandaged arm hangs at his side. He looks at me across the room and says, "At the station, if you had opened the door every time, we'd all be dead." I do not answer right away. "Maybe," I say. He frowns. "Maybe? Maybe some people would be alive who aren't." He looks down. That is not me being noble. It is just accounting. Survival stories lie when every hard call becomes justified by the fact that the narrator survives. The truth is uglier. Some choices save the people inside and doom people outside. Some choices doom both. Some choices look cruel until morning. Some look necessary until years later. The fire station taught me that stocked shelves and red doors do not solve the human part of collapse. They make it sharper. At 5 p.m. I climb the training tower again. The sky is clearing. Smoke from Ashford still rises in several columns. The road remains mostly empty. Infected press at the fence in scattered groups, manageable for now. Inside the annex yard, Victor teaches one of the older children how to carry water without spilling it. Delaney works on the radio. Harris and Mara sit close without speaking. Lena tears strips from a towel for bandages. Patch sleeps under the table, finally trusting the room enough to close both eyes. I look north toward where Station 4 stood. For one evening, it gave us tools, water, medical supplies, a vehicle, information, and a terrible lesson. It was never a fortress. It was a place built for people to rush out from, not hide inside. Once the world changed, every strength turned into a signal. The bay doors were too visible, the generator too loud, the radio too tempting. The stocked shelves too small for the number of hands that needed them. The symbol outside stronger than the walls around it. People came because people had been trained their whole lives to go where help was supposed to be. And we were inside, learning that help had become something you could not give to everyone without losing it completely. Night comes again. This time we are not in the fire station. We are not behind glass doors with the whole town staring at us. We are in a low training building behind a fence most people would pass without noticing. We have less than I want and more than most. We have water in bins, food counted in meals, fuel gone, tools stacked near exits, and a radio that spits pieces of a collapsing county into the dark. At 8:13 p.m., dispatch transmits one more clear message. All remaining units operate independently. County command unable to coordinate response. Protect crews. Avoid public gathering points. Repeat. Avoid public gathering points. Delaney writes it down, then sets the pencil aside. No one says what everyone knows. Public gathering points now mean death unless someone has walls, food, discipline, and luck. Fire stations, schools, fairgrounds, hospitals, churches, all the places people were told to trust. All of them are too easy to find. Mara asks what we do tomorrow. I look at the map. Delaney looks at the fence. Harris looks at his family. Victor looks at the food count. Lena looks at the dog. Tomorrow we scout the Briar Creek substation from a distance, not to move in blindly, not to repeat the same mistake with a different building. We look for fuel, radio batteries, water, and maybe records of which roads are gone. We do not activate sirens. We do not advertise safety. We do not pretend a stocked building can stay ours just because we found it first. And if people come to the gate, we decide again. That is the part nobody wants. The deciding does not end. Every door becomes a question. Every voice outside becomes a test. Every supply shelf becomes a clock. Every useful place becomes dangerous the moment enough people know about it. I sit against the classroom wall with the Halligan across my knees and listen to the night press against the fence. Infected move beyond the yard in slow, uneven paths. Somewhere far north, something explodes with a dull flash behind the clouds. Maybe a transformer, maybe fuel, maybe another building people thought would hold. Nobody in the room asks if we are safe. Good. Safe is the wrong word now. We are inside. We are quiet. We are stalked for a little while. We have exits. We have rules. We have people who are tired enough to make mistakes and scared enough to keep moving anyway. For tonight, that has to be enough.